Blast off! SpaceX is making history once again.
And I scream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream. But does McDonald's? We have the answer.
And a story on a girl who knows the true art of wax on, wax off. Thanks for tuning in, Texans. You are not going to want to miss this. All this and more coming up on today's edition of NHSTV Live.
Tropical storm Nicholas hit Texas yesterday, leaving a path of destruction and damage in its wake. The storm touched down in the southeastern corner of the state near Sargent Beach, leaving massive floods, fallen trees, and broken buildings, and other damages trailing behind it. Many in Texas are still without power as energy providers scramble to repair power lines and other electrical equipment. We will continue to keep you updated as the story unfolds.
Meanwhile, the famous phrase, "one step for mankind, one giant leap for mankind," is taking on an entirely new meaning. Last night, history was made by SpaceX yet again after the research and testing facility owned and funded by billionaire Elon Musk sent the first all-civilian rocket into space. This rocket is entirely self-operating, meaning that crew members specialized in rocket science and astrophysics were not required inside the craft to run the mission. SpaceX is setting a new era for space exploration, going from billionaires and professionals entering Earth's orbit to everyday people. They will be in space for 3 days at 360 miles in the sky, about as far as it takes to go from here to Corpus Christi. If this mission continues to go as planned, who knows? Maybe we may even be able to go to space one day. What do you think, Gabe?
I don't know, Kirsten. Maybe you can. Speaking of something out of this world, though, the Oreo McFlurries at McDonald's are delicious, but like in the memes, their ice cream machines seem to always be broken. Well, customers haven't been the only ones to notice. In fact, the Federal Trade Commission has launched a preliminary investigation into McDonald's to find out what exactly is going on. One issue could actually not be with McDonald's, but with their supplier, Taylor Food Commercial Service, who charges $18,000 in repairs per machine. But how does this impact you? Well, to help you avoid locations that can't solve your ice cream fix, you can go to mcbroken.com to see which nearby McDonald's have operating ice cream machines. Thankfully, the ones by Tanger Outlet and Roanoke are still functioning. Be sure to head there to soothe your cravings.
Man, Gabe, all that talk about McDonald's has me hungry. Good thing I have lunch next period. Speaking of, I'm sure returning classmen have noticed that things have changed. But why is that? According to Tim McClure, the assistant superintendent, the school district alerted the price of lunch meals to $5 universally based on the average amount of money students would typically spend on their lunch items at schools throughout the district. So outlets like Pizza Hut and Subway were replaced with Terraritor and Sweet Pickles to expand student meal option and inclusivity while offering them the same kinds of food they love.
And hey, while we're talking about reboots, our lunches aren't the only thing changing. Spielberg is back at it again, shaking up the entertainment world once more. The official trailer for Steven Spielberg adaptations of the 1957 classic West Side Story was released just yesterday, coinciding with the first day of Hispanic Heritage Month. The movie follows the same plot as the 1957 Broadway musical and the 1961 theatrical release, focusing on the rival gangs of different cultures. The Jets and Sharks. Maria, a shark of Puerto Rican descent, and Tony, a jet of Irish descent, have their worlds collide as they fall in love amidst a rivalry. The movie is set to release on December 10th, and honestly, I can't wait to see it. What do you think, Kirsten?
Me too. I can't wait to see what they're going to do with the release. If we're talking about anticipated masterpieces, Gabe, then you can't forget to mention this. Meet the newest luxury car presented by Bentley, the Bacalar. Bentley will only manufacture 12 of these cars, and all will be custom made. The car models a new twist on what we know as convertible, though. You're not actually seeing a convertible. There's no roof to this car at all. It follows a sleek and minimal design with a starting price of $2 million. Imagine what it would cost just to repair one of these cars. Bentley says the Bacalar is doing the rarest two-door vehicle has offered in the modern era. One thing that's for sure is that all eyes are going to be on whoever manages to get their hands on the first Bacalar first when it debuts in 2022. Oh, and if we're talking about cars, NHSTV reporter Reagan McDonald went out and got the story on one student with a drive for the exceptional.
Member of the Student Council, National Honor Society, and AP student, Aubrey Hetker has a lot on her plate. But that isn't stopping her from breaking boundaries and pushing herself even further.
My grandfather would detail his cars throughout just everything, and then my dad started doing it also. So my dad was detailing his own cars, and my grandpa was showing him how, and my dad built the engine to his second car, and then as my dad was selling his Audi, he was like washing it and such, and I came out to help, and then it just strayed into him teaching me and me washing all of my family's cars.
Aubrey has been detailing cars with her father since she was a kid, and in doing so is breaking family tradition.
My grandfather did it, and my dad did it, so pretty much it's like a whole men's thing.
I would say it started with my dad. His parents weren't really car people necessarily, but my dad and his brother, that was their thing through the 60s and 70s when car culture became a really big thing with the muscle car era. You know, I think it's open to anybody who's interested. I don't think it necessarily has to be a men's thing. It sure seems traditionally like it's been kind of a boys' club, but you know, the more women and anybody else that's into it, the better for sure.
And not only is she defying expectations, but she's doing it well. In fact, Aubrey is so good at detailing cars that people are lining up to pay to have their cars done by her.
Hopefully at some point I'll have the time to like sit down and make like a website or something, but it would need to be in terms of my schedule.
We've talked about it a couple times, and we've kind of run through some different scenarios of how to set it up, and we're still working out the logistics of that, but I definitely think there's some opportunities there for sure.
Be sure to be on the lookout to support a fellow Texan as she floors it toward a bright future. For now, this has been Reagan McDonald with NHSTV.
Man, I desperately need a car wash.
I do too. Mine's so gross. But what do you think? What about you? Be sure to go to our Twitter at NHSTV to let us know if you or a friend has an interesting talent.
Oh, and speaking of talent, be sure to tune in to tomorrow's show for your sports update on our Texan athletes.
That's all we have for now. Have a great rest of your day, Texans.
This has been NHSTV Live.